Ever wonder why some important dice rolls feel exceptionally tense and receive tons of excitement, while others of equal importance fall completely flat? What if I told you that by understanding one concept of game design behind dice rolling, that you could gain a high level of control over what rolls feel dramatic? Hey everyone, David Fox from Modular DM here, and in today's session, we're discussing a game design concept heavily tied to dice that I refer to as time under tension, and we're gonna make you a master of it. Now, to answer the question of what time under tension is, let's use the visualization of a spring. The more I compress a spring, the larger the resulting force will be once I release it. However, when I compress a spring, I can choose to let it go very slowly, and it will appear as if there was never any energy stored up in it at all. Or I could let it go immediately and it'll fly right across the room. The same is true for tension and excitement. The more I dial up the tension, the bigger the release and excitement can be. But if I release that tension over too long a period of time, it simply falls flat. What this means is when it comes to making a dice roll feel extremely dramatic and exciting, is we need to develop a technique that will allow us to keep the player in a state of tension as long as possible to really compress that spring. And we must make sure that the release of all that stored up tension happens instantaneously. We need the player and everyone at the table to know if the roll succeeded or failed the very moment they see the number that pops up on the die. We want there to be no lag at all. Now, there are a few ways of pulling this off, but let me share with you the technique that I use. I call this technique announcing the stakes. It's something I picked up from Brennan Lee Mulligan, and it involves 6 steps. First, before anything else, you're going to give a short recap of the current moment and the stakes at hand to help everyone understand the tension in this moment. Second, announce the exact DC they need. Don't hide it. And give a quick description of what will happen if they fail this roll. Next, stop the player from rolling. They will want to immediately roll. Do not let them. And instead, have them calculate all of the bonuses they need to add to the roll. If they have other dice besides the D20 to add, like if someone has given them a bardic inspiration, have them roll that ahead of time so that you can calculate the total bonus that this roll will have. Then announce to the entire table the exact number after factoring in the bonuses that the player needs from the D20 for a success. Then let them roll. Now, let me explain why this works so well. I'm adding as much drama and tension as I possibly can before allowing my player to even roll the dice and begin the process of releasing the spring. That spring is becoming as compressed as I possibly can get it. But at the same time, what I'm also doing is using this time to educate everyone at the table about what success looks like and what is required to attain it. I'm enabling everyone at the table to have an instantaneous understanding of what happens on any result that die gives, guaranteeing as quick of a release of that spring as I possibly can get. Meaning, I've set myself up for this particular dice roll to have the most amount of tension and payoff it could ever hope to be. There's nothing more I could do. The entire table, not just the player, is awaiting the result of that die roll. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. It's dark and exceptionally stormy, and you and all your companions on this ship have been attacked by sirens. 2 of which have been knocked unconscious and dragged underwater. And you are attempting to, in this moment, jump into the storm with a cannonball you have cast light on to both sink fast enough and hopefully aid you in getting visuals on your 2 friends so you can cast Mass Healing Word and save their lives before they have to make their final death saving throw next turn. If you fail, the chance one of them dies next turn is over 50%. It is very dark, even with the cannonball. So I'm going to need you to make a perception check of DC 16. What bonuses do you add to a perception check? A +5? Okay, great. And it doesn't look like anyone is able to bless or inspire her right now? No? Okay. So that means that you need to get an 11 on this D20 roll. Go ahead and roll. The result of that particular encounter was our cleric succeeding and getting visuals on both drowning players, bringing them back to consciousness and escaping the sirens that were holding them both down below water. They ended up miraculously avoiding a TPK and winning the fight. And after a 100+ session long campaign, everyone agrees that this was in the top 3 most badass moments in the entire campaign. And now that you have the announcing the stakes technique, you are equipped to make the most of the badass moments in your campaigns. That's it for this session of Modular DM. But before you go, I'd love if you left a comment down below in those session notes on some of your most impactful dice rolls you've ever had in your campaigns. If you're interested in learning some more tools and techniques, check out our previous session on the power of a name, where we discuss a tool we've all used thousands of times, but never learned how to make the most of it. And next session, we'll be exploring dice again, but this time looking at how you as a DM can literally shape the randomness of dice to fit any narrative you want to tell. See you then.